Women Photographers International Archive, or WOPHA, was co-founded by art historian Aldeide Delgado and visual artist Francisco Maso to research, promote, support, and educate on the contributions of women and non-binary photographers to modern and contemporary art. WOPHA celebrates and expands the visibility of women photographers, both here in Miami and around the world. I am honored to have been invited to host this inaugural film series as part of Give Miami Day, our city's largest annual online giving event. As an artist, communicator, and advocate for creative visibility in Miami's cultural landscape, supporting WOPHA feels deeply personal. This organization represents the power of community, the importance of visibility, and the transformative potential of photography. Today's conversations are more than interviews. They are actually encounters. Each dialogue opens a window into the passion, resilience, and vision that drive the women and allies who are helping us make Miami a meeting place for the international photography community. Join us as we listen, reflect, and celebrate their stories, told in their own voices. I am your host, Leslie Gabaldón. Hi, I have the great pleasure of speaking with Kimberly Green. Under Kimberly's leadership, the foundation empowers communities through creativity, equity, and access, often emphasizing the transformative power of storytelling to inspire change. Her partnership with cultural organizations such as WOPHA reflects a deep belief that art is a catalyst for empathy and opportunity. Kimberly's work bridges humanitarian vision and local impact, continuing her family's legacy of service while opening new pathways for inclusion and visibility within the arts. Kimberly, welcome. It's an honor for us to have you here today.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to start with something personal.
Okay.
You grew up in a family where philanthropy and social impact was the everyday life. So how those values still influence the way you lead the foundation today?
Thank you for saying that. My family's been a huge influence on how I operate the foundation. It was originally founded to create small changes in the community with families and small donations. And over time, we started to realize that we wanted to be involved in more community-wide impactful programs. So we got involved with anchor institutions in Miami, as well as retaining and growing our grassroots investments. So the values really come out of, I would say, my mother, who is a staunch Catholic, but a very open Catholic. I mean, my mother I've taken her all over the world to ceremonies in India and Haiti and in areas of South Dakota. She's very open to learning about other faiths, other lived experiences.
Okay.
And that really inspired me at the foundation of who I get involved with, what organizations we want to. It's not just about what our personal values are, it's what our neighbors believe in and our neighbors' cultural values.
Well, that's awesome, because my next question to you is, what are the values of what is the mission of the Green Family Foundation? If you can say it in one phrase.
So I can't say it in one phrase. You can see it on my website, which has been designed. But really, I would like to say that our values are about equity and access. You said that in your introduction, and I want to add one more word to that, and that's action.
Good.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite words.
Right. So, and I'm glad to hear that, because I think what happens a lot of times is we learn about our neighbors' experiences. We learn about other lived experiences. We understand that change needs to happen, but then what's the next step?
Yeah, then you go like, yeah, well, we'll think about it. But then,
Right. So you walk away from an event or a talk, or you go to see an exhibit and you're inspired and you feel like you've learned a lot, but then how do you carry that forward?
yes.
So we like to really talk about a call to action. How do you personally get involved? Whether it's spending an hour a month sitting with someone that you don't know and learning about their experiences. Is it going to a museum? Is it volunteering? There are many different ways that people can get involved.
Oh, that's awesome because that usually leads to discovery
Yes.
of people's needs and wants. Right? There is a lot of people sometimes who would like to volunteer or donate or something, and they don't know where to start. So those conversations probably work as a discovery. So now that we're talking about discovery, this is my favorite question. For those of you who are just watching us right now, we are conducting a series of interviews or encounters or conversations about WOPHA Foundation, and we would like to invite you to join us and keep listening because it's going to be super interesting. But my favorite question to you is, and that's usually my favorite question to everybody, is how did you get in contact with WOPHA and Aldeide? Or did you find WOPHA? WOPHA found you? How was that story?
So interesting question because I kind of feel like I've always known Aldeide. She is such a force in our community. But I feel like the time space continuum around COVID just changed everything. So it's kind of hard to remember our first meeting. But I was talking with her earlier and we met over Zoom. And yes, so we were introduced through a mutual art enthusiast in Miami. And I was out in California during a lot of COVID and was trying to see how I could be supportive of artists living in Miami that had somehow had, because of the pandemic, lost their source of income, were having issues with affordability with their apartments and so forth. And Aldeide reached out to us, or we were connected through Green Family Foundation. And at the time, we did not have Green Space Miami. It was an idea. It was sort of brewing with myself and my two partners, Michelangelo Bendandi and Matt Argandiza. And so we met, and Aldeide had these wonderful ideas. This is not my quote, but I heard someone say, Aldeide comes in like a hurricane. And I would rather say like a weather system. Yes, because a hurricane is destructive. And I think what Aldeide does is so productive in bringing together so many different um, people in Miami, and not just Miami. I mean, what you realize when you look into WOPHA and see what they do is they're global.
Absolutely.
And having Miami as that sort of landing point for artists around the world to come and sort of project their work, project their vision. Aldeide has been a superstar in that area.
She is a superstar, and I love how your relationship with Aldeide and WOPHA really highlights how collaboration can really impact a society or a community. It doesn't matter how big or small. Well, talking about your relationship with Aldeide and how you got in touch with WOPHA, I would love to know, the Green Family Foundation has been instrumental in the WOPHA's growth, and even now has provided WOPHA with a permanent home for a period of 16 months.
Yes.
Thank you so much on behalf of all the WOPHA community. Having a physical space in Miami, it's super important for an organization to have a physical presence. What inspired you to partner in that way with WOPHA?
Okay. Social media is a good thing and it's a bad thing. We can have that discussion. But so every time I look at Aldeide or WOPHA's Instagram or their posts, they're partnering with another partner that I partner with. And I look and I'm like, I didn't know that they knew them. And I didn't know I'm invested in this organization. So we really felt at the foundation and at Green Space that how wonderful would it be to bring together, again, I know I used this term before, but sort of all the points in Miami, and having WOPHA here next to the larger Green Space, and all of the people that come here to participate, to view, to take in everything that WOPHA has to offer are all community partners. And it just really strengthens our, I don't want to say our ability, but it strengthens our relationships. It strengthens our impact as a foundation.
Action, right?
Yeah. And when I see, so we at the foundation, we're partnered with PAM, the Perez Art Museum. We're partnered with the Frost Art Museum. We've partnered with MoCA. And even, when I hear about what WOPHA is doing with all of these organizations, it just made sense.
It just makes a lot of sense, right? Well, that's beautiful. I was talking to you on the phone the other day, and I would love for you to share that personal anecdote of your childhood, of growing up in Miami. Your parents used to take you lots of places.
Yes.
So remember, you were talking about a big giant sculpture in the middle of the street of a sloth?
Of a sloth, a giant sloth from the old science museum.
So then when we were talking about that, and then you said, I think Miami is the destiny for.
So, okay, one of the things about Miami that I think is so beautiful is I feel that because of the amount and the diversity of cultures that are here, the diversity of experiences, that we understand and learn and experience art through the culinary arts, through the music, through photography, through all types of visual art, dance, because people are coming together from so many different places and bringing their lived experiences, bringing their cultural perspectives, their like I said, their culinary. So we're surrounded by art all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Art is not a destination point. It's a lived point in Miami.
That's beautiful. So it makes sense that Women International Archive is a meeting place for photographers from all over the world.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Well, in the spirit of Give Miami Day, okay? To the person who's listening to us right now, Kimberly, you who grew up in philanthropy and giving, and who has highlighted the importance of supporting WOPHA and all the community that you're supporting at the same time, what would be your message for somebody who's listening right now about supporting WOPHA and why?
So, in a way, I wish we had another word besides philanthropy that was more inclusive. Because I think the word philanthropy sometimes people feel excluded from it because you feel like you have to have a certain level of wealth or a certain level of access. And so there's this concept of democratizing these experiences of elevating your neighbors. And philanthropy, or whatever word we want to put in there, is about this elevation. And with WOPHA, I believe that the visual storytelling is so important. When you come and here and you see someone's, again, I'm going to use the term lived experience, it inspires you. It makes you think about what you've experienced in your life, and then you want to understand and participate. So this democratization of the experience. So whether you can, and I know we're on Give Miami Day, so it is about fundraising. So I think the person that gives $5 is just as important as the person that gives
Absolutely.
$5 million. Of course, you do what you can and what's good for you, and participating in WOPHA brings these stories to everyone. For example, there have been people that have walked by that have come in, and they never thought that they would see, say it's someone from the Caribbean, and they come into this space and they see their grandmother, they see their sister, they see one of their relatives on the wall, in beauty and in grace and in power.
And power.
And that is so important because so often people's stories are told by others. And with WOPHA, it is empowering women, it's empowering artists, it's empowering people to tell their story in their own voice, through their own eyes, and to their own audience. And I think everyone should experience that and want to be a part of it. And when they do experience it, they do want to be a part of it.
I think that's so important, the way you're putting it, because I think we even spoke about it in our previous conversation. that just by coming to the exhibitions, you are supporting the artists. It's a sense of the artist or the photographer saying, what I'm doing, it's relevant, it's important, and it matters to other people. So it's not all about the, currency of the nation. It's also about trying, volunteering, and stuff like that. Can you share me a personal story or a personal moment that captures your experience with WOPHA or an impact that you have witnessed?
Oh, okay. So I will say WOFA can go. So I like to say it's a little bit like me in the sense that
WOPHA is like you?
well, the way that they interact and the way they project. So 1 minute Aldeide could be on the stage in Washington D.C., on the stage at PAM, surrounded by award-winning photographers, and the next day she's taking equipment out of the back of the car and setting up. So it's from soup to nuts, if I could use an old person's expression. Um, they, in my personal experience, I get my hands dirty or whatever the expression is, but I'm also able to be as a host of the event. And I think it's important to understand all aspects of the work that you're doing. And with WOFA, I come in here and I meet photographers who are in their 20s, and I meet photographers who are in their senior days, who are all doing amazing work and all learning from each other. And I feel like that is very similar to what I do with the foundation, how I interact with people on an everyday, the new generation, the old generation, and both have valid stories to tell.
Well, if there's a word that I'm going to take away from today's encounter with you,
Yeah.
Kimberly, it's action.
I know what you mean.
Action is one of the most important things. Like you said before, you can be inspired, you can have great ideas, you can be moved by somebody else's ideas and wanting to support, but action is what really brings things to life.
Yes.
So thank you very much for your time, Kimberly.
Thank you. I would thank WOFA.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Wafa. And then I would talk with you forever, but I know you're busy.
We're all busy. This is a great time, and thank you. And I'm so excited.
Thank you
This
so
is going
much
to
for
be a
your
great,
support.
great 16 months or however many months.
Yes. Okay. So for those of you again who just joined us, this is Kimberly Green, president of the Green Family Foundation, and we're here today to have meaningful conversations with key people from the Miami art scene who are supporting WOFA or connected to WOFA in any way. Thank you so much.
Thank you.